Hello and welcome to the Devlin Bishop Show. Yes, I'm being bold and just calling it my name because that's who I am. I don't have a huge ego, but I'm sure by the way I'm always saying, hey, it's Devlin here, and that people must really think I have a big ego, but it's not true. Anyhow, what we're doing here tonight is this is kind of a pilot for a show that we're hoping to add to Mondo nostalgia. And yeah, and I'm not alone tonight. I have got my co-host with me, the lovely Corda, which doesn't she doesn't make appearances too often. Usually because she works topless. But I asked her to please put a top on for this, just because it's we are an adult channel, but we're not ready for that. If we get lots of likes, then maybe we'll both go topless. Okay, we can't make promises like that. But anyhow, this is just a show where we're going to talk about stuff, and mostly we're going to try to talk about random things. With Halloween coming up, we'll probably concentrate on that, but I should say hello to Corda, even though she's been hoping I won't. But how are you tonight, Heather? Corda.
Good, how are you?
Yes, she goes by Corda, but I just screwed up, so.
That's okay.
But you said you don't mind either way.
No.
So you didn't want to be on screen with me.
No.
I had to talk you into it.
Yep.
But we have a nice rapport. Yeah, I know, and you like to be behind the scenes, but I thought it'd be fun to put you there because you just agree with me most of the time anyhow.
That's true.
And I need a confidence builder, so why not do that? So yeah, we're a little both nervous, as you can tell, but we're gonna have a lot of fun today, even though we're terrified. It's funny because I've done podcasts and I've filmed other things for Mondo Nostalgia, but when I was getting ready for this, and if you see me fixing myself a lot, it's because I'm seeing myself in the camera. When I film my memory lanes or Damien and Devlin, I don't see myself until after, and holy mackerel, when I see myself, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I straighten out my shirt? So if you see a lot of primping, that's the reason why, because you all needed to know that. Thank you. What's funny is when I was getting ready, I like to put some makeup on. I put some stuff under the eyes. I'm not as young as I used to be. But it's funny, I put cologne on. So I'm not asking you to look for a scratch and sniff thing for people. But if you have a nice cologne at home or a air freshener, maybe spray it and then I'll feel good because you'll be like, oh, Devlin smells nice tonight. Because I get that a lot, and that's all I really strive for in life. When people tell me, you smell incredible. I remember at improv, when I used to perform improv, they'd always hug me and say, you smell amazing. And I said, well, that's what I'm going for. I don't want to be the greatest improv. I want to be the best smelling improv. So anyhow, yeah. So that's your host tonight. Somebody who puts cologne on before they do a thing. But that's just me. Anyhow, we're going to talk about Halloween stuff, and we're going to start with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's a favorite movie of mine and Corda's, and I'm sure a lot of you. And we deal with it a lot. And yeah, and I just love it. It's playing at the Playhouse this year. And it's also playing at the Westdale. Now, it might play at other theaters in the area. I live in the Stony Creek area, so that's just in my area. But I'm sure wherever you're watching this, it's playing somewhere, because luckily Disney will let them play Rocky Horror. Now, I was with you the first time you saw Rocky Horror. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was a teenager, and you and several other people dressed up for the part. That's a night to remember.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to see Rocky Horror right at the end of when you could do everything, the audience participation. You can still do that at a lot of theaters, maybe not this year, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I got to see like lighters and squirt guns. Like I can't even imagine how many theaters that Rocky Horror ruined. It may have changed a lot of people's lives, but I'm sure a lot of movie theaters. I remember there was like cigarette burns and stuff in the chairs when I went, and it was still a magical night. Heather's parents, or Corda's parents, were always, I love them to death, but they just were always like, well, you got to wait till she's older to show it to her. And I think Eric turned 16, and then that's her younger brother, and then we were allowed to show it. And I remember it was in the summer, and we couldn't, nobody was playing it in our area. And so we decided to show it on video probably at that time.
Yeah.
And we decided to give them as best of the performance as we could. Now, obviously, my sister-in-law, Cheryl, would not let us use squirt guns in the house. So we went to a Salvation Army and dressed up as the characters. And because it was my idea, I got to play Frankenfurter, the only time in my life I will ever play Frankenfurter. And my sister did an amazing job. We should have got more pictures. I think there's one floating around of me. I should try to find it.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should try to scan it and put it up somewhere at some point. Maybe if we can find it. But it's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. My sister-in-law found this old beige girdle, like an old lady's girdle, and she cut it in the front, put some laces, and even dyed it black. She did this all that night before we did it, and they squeezed me in that, and then she tried to teach me to walk in high heels. And well, being a gay male, I actually picked it up quite good. In fact, she told me that I think I walk better in them than she did. So it was funny. She's getting ready to teach me, and I'm already walking up and down stairs in these high heels. So. But I'm glad it was a memorable night for you, because we wanted to kind of give you the experience. And I love that your parents joined in too.
Yeah.
I remember because, as I said, I love Corda's parents, and her dad is just an incredible man, but he can be a little shy at times. And I remember having this blue scarf, and I would tease him with it, being Frankenfurter. And I remember he actually got the scarf for my sister-in-law, and it was given to me at Christmas. And I still have that around somewhere. It was really kind of a nice memory and stuff. But yeah. And it's funny how like your parents were worried that it would corrupt you, and when you watch it now, like it's pretty much G-rated almost.
Oh, yeah.
I think they say the F word like once.
Well, my parents didn't know you were already corrupting me anyway, so.
Oh, I probably showed you worse stuff before that, but they didn't say you couldn't watch that kind of stuff, like heavy metal or horror movies or stuff like that. But yeah, the reason I'm bringing up Rocky Horror is I'm really glad that movie theaters are playing it, because it's nice that in this pandemic that we all agree is absolutely horrible, that we're getting some like regular traditions going still. But I'll be honest, when they first announced Rocky Horror, I thought this was a social distancing nightmare.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're singing, you're yelling things at the screen.
Yeah.
So yes, you better wear your masks because you're going to be spitting out everything. And then you're like dancing, and like the whole movie is just, and I thought, oh my God, I was actually surprised they were doing it, but I am happy. And if you are in the area that I live in, like Hamilton or Burlington or Stony Creek, Ancaster, definitely go support the theaters. They need it right now, and definitely the smaller theaters, although the big ones are probably just as in trouble. But for me, I love the Westdale. I love the Playhouse. I won't pick favorites, even though that is blatantly a picture of the Playhouse behind me. But I'm not picking favorites. But anyhow, they have it at different times. So find a time that's good for you. I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I'm seriously have been thinking about it, because if my masks come in,
yes, that's true.
My dream is to bring Count Devlin to one of the Halloween shows, and the Playhouse has a ton of Halloween movies. But first of all, I don't know if those are going to come in yet.
Yeah.
Right. I got some see-through masks, so Count Devlin could see his lips, because I I think it's weird when Count Devlin has to wear a mask.
It is.
He's undead.
Yeah.
And I don't know, his kooky facial expressions. And I know we look alike. People tell me all the time, if I had red hair and black eye things, I'd look just like Count Devlin.
Almost like.
So, yeah, so I know he desperately wants to go to one of these, but it'll all depend if the masks come. But I don't know. Rocky Horror, that scares me a little. I haven't seen it in a theater since I hosted it at the Staircase.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was a wonderful memory of doing a couple of years hosting it there. But yeah, I don't know. I've been back to the movies a couple of times, but I'm a little nervous. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you have been to the movies and if Rocky Horror would be something you'd go to. Because can you get away with wearing a hazmat suit and like a top hat? Most people are dressing up as the characters, but I don't know. There's a lot of skin for some of those characters. We're really going to see Janets out there in their panties and their bras, like, but I don't know. Doing the time warp even, like you're going and bumping and grinding.
Yeah.
But by all means, if you feel comfortable, I'm not trying to stop you. I have been to the Playhouse and you have too. And it's wonderful, right? Like they do an amazing job of making me feel safe, but I'm still not sure about Rocky Horror. So if you do go to the Playhouse, keep an eye out. You never know. You might see me or Count Devlin. So, and Corda will be dragged along too.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's what she does. Do you think you'd be comfortable doing like the time warp and social distancing? Because when you go to this, have you ever seen it in a theater?
Only the ones that you did at the Staircase.
Yeah, they weren't rowdy at all.
No.
But I could hear you. You were yelling out like asshole, bitch, all the stuff. Yeah, no, I think she was just probably quiet.
Oh yeah.
With her purse in front, Golden Girl, Sophia. Am I here? For those of you who think I'm mean to Corda, please know this is how we act. I'm always bugging her. I'm always like, cracking the whip, making sure the Mondo Nostalgia stuff gets done. We don't even know if this is ever going to air, but if it is, welcome. I hope you're enjoying yourself so far. I am. I'm having a lot. I'm having fun. I always cut you off. I should let you talk.
No, that's okay.
She said, I can't wait till you start getting guests on here, so my screen will be diminished even more. And I go, well, we still want you on here. Because I've done enough talking head shows. I wanted a co-host, and I thought I need Corda to like record this because my computer's not strong enough. Yeah, so that's why she's here, for tech reasons. But the fact that we got her to do it.
1 second, okay.
Oh, yeah, and this is technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, let's stop and listen.
We need water. Well, we can cut
This
that,
is
maybe.
no. This is reality television. Cord is also a mom, and this kind of stuff happens. And she's like, has her child locked in a room right now, won't let her have water until we're finished, because she knows that I'll get mad. I've got water.
Yeah.
I thought ahead.
Water.
And you couldn't give your kid water before we started? Yes, we're letting this go because honestly, she has other editing to do. We're adding so much on Mondo Nostalgia. I don't want to promote that yet. We'll hit you with that at the end. So you'll stay for the other stuff. Now, I want to talk about other things with Halloween. This year, it's going to be a little strange. So let's look at the happy times of Halloween. Now, I've talked about my Halloween experience. You can probably see it on my old podcast. You can see it on my memory lane. But when you grew up, and yes, I'm going to put you in the spotlight here, you didn't celebrate Halloween kind of like, well, I was going to say like normal people.
Yeah.
But no, your parents had a different thought. And why don't you let us know about that a bit? Because
Well,
I like it. I like it now that I'm older. I actually understand it. when I was younger and first met you, I thought, what? And yes, I know your mother might watch this.
She probably will.
Oh, I know. That wasn't about you. Terry knows I love her.
Yes.
And I would never tell her name online. Oh, oops. No, you tell us what your Halloween was like. And yeah, I didn't like it at first, but I actually understand it now that I'm a lot older.
Well, when we were like really little, I don't know, 4 or 5, we did go out trick-or-treating, but it was like to like maybe a few houses on the street, and we lived in a very rural area, so we just went to make 3 or 4 houses, and that was it. Then as soon as we were a little bit older, like maybe 7 or 8, Halloween was not a trick-or-treating thing, because my mom didn't like she didn't like that we were asking strangers for candy, and she didn't like horror stuff and all that. So it became, here's some money, we're going to go to a store and buy some candy, and then we're going to take you to a movie. So we still enjoyed Halloween, but it wasn't normal.
Yeah, no, but it's nice. As I said, when I was younger, I didn't understand it because it's like, wow, you missed a lot of the Halloween traditions. You did go trick-or-treating, like the couple of houses that you knew, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I remember talking to your parents about it, and they told me back then that they felt it was a weird night because, and I totally get your mother with the Halloween stuff. I know that's not for everyone, and I respect that for her. The fact that she worked at one of those party places that is just Halloween in your face. I think she's amazing that she did that. But your parents always told me that we spend the whole year basically telling kids not to take stuff from strangers. And then we basically have a night where we like go and let our kids talk to strangers. So, you know, as I said, I thought it was a little crazy when I was younger, but as I get older, it's logical. Yeah. Like it makes sense. If I had kids, I'd still take them trick-or-treating, but that stays in the back of my head all the time now.
Yeah.
And I think this year you'll probably see a lot of kids not going out. As I said, we will talk about that a little bit because it's going to be kind of weird. But yeah, so, but the idea of going to a movie or something, that's kind of nice and stuff like that too. Or even just putting a movie on with the kids, like, you know, that's what I did. When my parents took me trick-or-treating, we went to blocks and blocks, and it's no wonder I have diabetes and I'm overweight because they would just give us a pillowcase to fill up. And literally it's like, you know, and I always remember I was a little terrified as a kid. And I remember sometimes the houses looked really dark and it looked like, you know, I didn't know what a crack house was at the time, but it might have been. And I'd just be like, yeah, I'm going to go to that nice old lady who's sitting on her porch, you know, and I just saw a ghoul go past there. I think it was your daughter, but I don't know. It looked, I'm talking about Halloween, so it kind of looked like some ghoul. Anyhow, yeah, so I'd be like, I'm going to go to the bright light house, and I'm going to go, and then my parents would be like, no, go to this one. I'm sure they're open. I go, they have no lights on. The house looks like it's condemned. And they'd be like, no, go get candy. I'm like, how much candy do you want me to get? Like, and of course I went, and they'd knock on the door and nobody would show up. And, you know, they were probably like, as I said, I didn't know I was naive. So, but my parents were like, oh, what are you, chicken? Go, go, go. I loved my parents, but they had some strange concepts at times. That's all I can say. But yeah, no, so yeah, I'm sorry that you missed a lot of that Halloween stuff, but I'm glad you still enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't really miss much. You missed a bunch of kids running.
He gives me different Halloween stories than everyone else, so that's kind of interesting.
Oh, do you have a good one to share with us?
Oh no.
No, they're not good, but I have no.
That was it. Yeah.
I never said they were good Halloween stories. I just thought they were okay. No, it's good.
I don't remember any specific Halloween. Like, I don't remember what movies we saw or anything like that. But I know they wouldn't have been horror movies, so.
No. What would be the closest to a horror movie your
parents would show you?
Oh, I don't know. Did
Something
Disney make any horror
Disney.
movies?
Pardon?
Did Disney
What?
make any horror movies?
No, but there's horror aspects in Disney,
Yeah,
like Snow White and Cinderella had villains, and
yeah.
pretty much every, Maleficent. Oh, I can't say that name. Did I say it right?
No,
Maleficent?
you didn't. That's okay.
Melissa Elephant? I can't.
Maleficent.
Maleficent. I can't say that word. I think I throw F's everywhere in it.
You throw in extra letters, yeah.
That's probably why I don't watch Sleeping Beauty as regularly as the other ones, because somebody might ask me what the villain's name's in that. I don't know, Angelina Jolie, animated.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, some of those Disney movies were
Yeah.
quite terrifying. And The Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to say this. The Wizard of Oz is a downright scary movie. Like when you're a kid, I know people who used to hate the flying monkeys or the trees that talked, and that witch, like they didn't glamour her up. She was like, green, black,
Oh, yeah.
black outfit. Now, they all have to look sexy and stunning. And no, she was just like, I got green paint on my face.
Yep.
And you know what's really traumatizing? I used to not like. I love watching the monkeys now, like not the TV show, but the flying monkeys. Although it would have been nice to have like, Peter George, Davy Jones, and the rest as flying monkeys, but this was 1939. Were they even born at this time? Anyhow, I'm off on a tangent. That's what you're going to see a lot in this show, and Heather Corda giggling. So I hope you like that. As I said, if one person watches this, we'll be happy.
I'll be
And
shocked.
Heather will have
Yeah.
more work. But if you don't watch it, Heather won't have enough work. So please watch it. That one person will get her to have to work extra hard. And she'll get her gruel at the end of the day. But no, as I was saying, I did kind of was creeped out by the flying monkeys.
Mhm.
And I recently talked to somebody who said that the soldiers were also kind of creepy looking, and somebody told me that they actually chant something that sounds like a religious cult.
Oh,
Look that up. I'd have to, like, not now, but
no.
yeah, it's something like we are belong to her or something. You know that. Ooh.
Yeah.
But the thing that always creeped me out the most, because I have abandonment issues, is that scene where they take the clock, the time. Help me. What's the word? The time. The sand.
The
Hourglass.
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 Yeah.
And they say, okay, you're going to be dead when this goes down. Okay. Then she's in that room thinking, I'm going to die. And that's not enough. That doesn't traumatize us enough. Then Auntie M shows up like, Dorothy! Dorothy! And it's like, oh my God. And she's like, Auntie M! Auntie M!
Oh, yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And I always say that Wizard of Oz is kind of our gateway drug to goth and fantasy, because we learn about witches, we learn about all this weird stuff. And so that's a terrifying film.
Yeah.
I can't remember like the first scary movie I ever saw. Like when I started seeing movies, it was definitely something probably like Jaws or The Exorcist, which I would have seen on the Sunday night movie,
Okay.
and where it would be edited, because my parents were very strict, like, you're not seeing an R-rated movie, and which is weird because Jaws was PG, but like The Exorcist wouldn't have been, but I was very little. But I think I would have saw one of those, and I think it terrified me. Though I do remember a TV movie called Trilogy of Terror, and everybody of my age, you probably wouldn't remember this because you're younger than me, but I talked to people of my age, and everybody remembers the one story in the Trilogy of Terror, because I don't know, I think every kid just happened to wake up during that scene and went down for a glass of water, because it was a little scene with a little doll, this little, I don't know what to call it to be, politically correct, but it was this little like doll, creepy little doll that was terrorizing this woman. And I remember, nobody remembers the other two in the trilogy,
Oh,
but everybody of my age remembers being terrified. So that was probably the first really scary movie. All the other ones were like The Exorcist, but like it was still scary edited, but I was like probably more confident. And then when I saw the uncut version, I was just, oh my God. It's still one of my scariest movies. I don't want to give away too much because I know I have a podcast that I hope you listen to
yeah.
that counts down my 20 scariest movies, in my opinion. So some people will be like, it's not scary. But anyhow, what is scary is the times we're living in right now. I know right now, as of the recording of this, they're saying if you're in a hot spot, you probably shouldn't let your kids go out trick-or-treating. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think they should just cancel it, or they know people are gonna do it anyhow?
If they did cancel it, people wouldn't necessarily do it.
Yeah.
So I think they're better off saying, yes, there's Halloween, but putting some rules on it if they can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people just go and do whatever they want. Whereas if they can do it, but there's a couple of rules to, of what you're supposed to do, maybe to help, then maybe that'll help a little bit. So
I think in years though, in the past couple of years, I think it's funny, Halloween seems to have gotten bigger, but I think it's almost gotten bigger for adults. Like people like to decorate, people love to like listen to Halloween music and watch scary movies or TV shows. And they're going to parties and stuff. But it almost seems like a lot more families are doing what your parents were originally doing and just letting them go a couple blocks in the neighborhood and then come home, watch a movie.
yeah.
And maybe more people will do that this year. I've been to a couple of like the Spirit of Halloween, where I work, where I'm not going to say where that is. We usually have a huge Halloween thing, and we don't this year. It's very makeshift. And when I go to these places, a lot of it's usually picked over. But this year, like you go to a Walmart, and there's still lots of costumes and candy still on the shelf.
Like
So I think a lot.
Looks like it's already getting to the end of October. Because
Yes.
yeah. It's
Now maybe, the day or two before Halloween, people will think, oh, let's get some candy in case there are some kids.
yeah.
But I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of sales afterwards, and there's going to be a lot of people hoarding some, O. Henrys and M&Ms, because you're going to get some bargains.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be there too. But I'll probably be still buying costumes, hoping that, next year I'll be able to dress up a little bit more and stuff like that. But yeah, it's scary. But some people say, and this year it's too bad because I don't know if you know all the facts, but this year in 2020, Halloween falls on a Saturday night. It's a full moon. It's daylight savings.
Oh.
And it's like everything is lined up that this should have been the perfect Halloween.
Oh.
But in some ways, we got a more terrifying story for this Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
You're actually risking your lives. Risking your lives. Boy, I didn't think my eyes could get that big. Sorry, I'm still looking at myself. I should be looking at Corda, but no,
It's okay.
I want to smell my cologne, But anyhow, yeah, and so it's almost terrifying because now, but people say most kids' costumes, you wear a mask anyhow.
Yeah.
But imagine those little kids that, want to dress up as Elvis or Marilyn Monroe and they have to wear a mask. What kids, by the way, what kids? Apparently, if I had kids, they dress up as like Elvis or Marilyn Monroe. Okay, if they dress up like superheroes, is that better? Or princesses?
Yeah.
A little girl doesn't want to dress like a princess and then slap a mask on and stuff like that. Maybe they could all go out as dental hygienists. That would be scary for me, just walking and like, oh, night of the living dental hygienist. clue what we're talking about, and I love it. I need water so I can pee my pants later. Yeah, there's a confession. No, well, did you dress up when you were taken out to the couple houses?
Yeah, yeah.
So you went to like 3 houses and you still dressed up?
But we also had to dress up for school too, because
Okay,
school always
so
wore costumes to school. So,
so tell me some of the things you dressed up as. I bet you I could guess some of them.
you probably could.
Well, you like fantasy stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a witch or a fairy in there.
Probably.
And oh, please,
I'll admit, I don't remember a lot of them personally because
really,
I'm like 4, 5.
Mr. Mistopheles from Cats.
No.
That's my dream, to see you in that coat. Before I died, I'd like to see you in that outfit. You don't remember anything? So your parents just put Mickey Mouse ears on you and like, okay, go ahead.
The only ones that I remember for sure are I was also in ballet at the time, so I had ballet outfits.
Okay.
And so I just used those. So I was a ladybug one year for ballet, so I was a ladybug for Halloween. Like, and I know that
Hey,
it worked,
your parents were smart. They probably talked you into that so you didn't have to go buy a
Probably.
costume for one day.
Ever bought costumes? Like I know that for Eric and stuff, they would just be like, okay, you're going out as a hobo this year, so we just kind of did him up as a hobo sort of thing. Or
Oh my God. I remember being a hobo. I love the word hobo. I don't know if it's politically correct anymore, but I really want to bring that back. Every time Mike and I always talk about becoming homeless, we're going to be hobos. We're going to
that's good.
have the stick with the little handkerchief with all our, stuff in it. Charlie Wuzzy sticking out.
He's in that.
No, we'll have to leave some of it, but Charlie Wuzzy will be there.
Aw.
We'll have the 5 o'clock shadow and sing like, we ain't got a barrel of money side by side. See, you get musical numbers. You'll probably get puppets one day on this show. But I love the word hobo. Some of my favorite costumes that don't date me in the least, I remember one of the best ones, a lady made it. It was a skunk costume with the full tail that was just huge. And it was a great costume and it kept me warm. It was a cold.
So you didn't have to be a skunk with a jacket on.
No, that was the worst when it's cold and
Mhm.
you're like trying to be like Luke Skywalker with a jacket on, like it's like here I've worked so hard on a costume, but now I have to wear a jacket over it. Damn Canadian Halloweens. My 2 favorite was Pippi Longstockings because I was obsessed with I can't remember if it's Swedish or Dutch or whatever, the old movies with I'm not going to get her name right. I want to say like Ingrid Lundstrom, but I have all the movies, and I think I've shown you some. They're really probably inappropriate now. But my mother made this red wig, and it actually had like a coat hanger in it. And I swear I almost took so many kids' eyes out when we did the parade around the school. Because I'd always forget I had wires coming out of my hair. Because anybody who knows what Pippi Longstockings looks like, I need to watch those movies again.
Yeah.
Do they qualify as Halloween?
Sure.
I'm sure
Rest of
there's
them.
scenes that are horrifying in them. I'm sure there is. And I also, a friend of mine on Fife Street, I doubt he watches this. I just reconnected with him again. I really hope he does. But we played Laverne and Shirley because I was obsessed with that show and I talked him into it and I was Laverne. So basically I wore my mother's wig because her hair looked like that. And just they had to sew an L on one of her old blouses, and that was pretty much it. But I love that costume, and yeah. And they didn't know I was gay at that point. And yet, anytime I wanted to dress as a woman, they never knew. Anyhow, we've been chatting for a bit. We should wrap it up, but we got to promote. First of all, thank you to anybody who sat through this. We don't even know if it's going to air. So if you're hearing this right now, it aired, and you'll probably see more. And if you liked it enough that you want to kind of join us and you have Zoom, please let us know. I will probably be asking some people, but I don't like to be turned down. So if you come to me and say, could I be on that show? Heather really wants it because she can diminish her head on it, but
That's right.
I'm going to try to get her in there somewhere. But I want to thank all the people who have been supporting Mondo Nostalgia. We started this for us, it started in July when we decided, let's try to do what we can with this page. Every time we did a YouTube page, it would always be like a hobby whenever we'd have something. But we just decided we want to try to make it successful. And with us, success is what we have right now. Yes, we'd love it to blow up and become really huge, but we know it's hard. But for the last 3-4 months, we have just been kicking it out of the park with new stuff. And even if this show, we're going to be hitting like something new every day. And to do that is crazy. Now, some of the stuff we do is questionable, but I think we love all of it. And I want to thank you, Corda, because your editing skills have gotten so good. Please don't judge this one. We have not edited any of this, so you're getting all the good, the bad, the ugly. But you have just your editing skills been great, and I just every time I come up with an idea, you've right been there. Like just even asking you to be my co-host for this, so it's just not me talking to myself again. And I think it's been very enjoyable because you and I always have interesting talks and stuff. But if you're a Halloween fan, we have so much on our YouTube page and our Facebook page, Twitter and Instagram. We tend to forget that sometimes, but if we actually had some followers on there, we'd put more content, I promise. But if you have hit play on anything, and obviously if you're seeing the end of this was one of them, so thank you. It's been a great ride. We're not hitting huge numbers, but you know what? We get excited even if we get like 5. We get excited when we hit 10 or 20, so thank you for making this dream. We're going to continue doing this as long as we can. Mondo Nostalgia stuff, the Damien and Devlin stuff, just all the stuff. And if you're a fan of Halloween, check out our Memory Lanes, the podcast. We got Halloween trivia. Count Devula works all of his stuff, but yeah, he's got his first full movie. I can say that now because this is going to air after.
Yep.
And that's a lot of fun, and I really have high hopes for Count Devula. He is available for any kind of personal appearances if you need him. I do parties, bar mitzvahs, anything. I don't know what Count Devula bar mitzvah. So thank you for watching all of it, or just some of it, or even one thing. And if it was this, oh, awesome. Thank you, Heather, for this. We're going to wrap it up, and we'll see if this becomes a thing, as all the other things that we've been proud of. And hey, we got 7 hits. Let's do this every week. That's the enthusiasm we have with Mondo Nostalgia and the Damien and Devlin show and everything. So, we get anyone watching this, and you could be seeing this every other week, every week. You never know. But anyhow, we're going to wrap it up, and I want to thank you again if you made it all the way through this, because I can't believe Heather and Corda made it all the way through this. I can't believe I made it through. Yeah, I can talk for hours. I could probably go for 3 hours, but we'll save that for the next show. Anyhow, have a great night. Do you want to say good night too? I keep forgetting you're actually here.
Good night.
She's got editing to do, and she's trying to take her top off and get to that. And I've got lots of other stuff to do, just being me is 24/7. I guess that's pretty much everyone. Okay, I'm going to stop now, and have a great night. Happy Halloween. And yeah, if you see an episode 2, that means somebody watched this.